Went to Costco, got a new interstate battery to put in. Came back, put it in the car. Went to start the car just to make sure everything was okay, and it locked up. I mean, it locked the car. If you wanted to ever see my face turn white, I thought I had a problem, a real big problem. So welcome to the Guys with Rides YouTube channel. Going to do a new series. Rather than focus on one project on this car or that car, I'm going to commit to doing a weekly vlog where I give an update on what we've done over the past week on the 5 cars we currently have in the Guys with Rides shop. That includes project some assembly required, our 73 Triumph TR6, project quick flip, our 1989 Porsche 944 Turbo with only 36,000 miles. And then over here is Project Big Red, our 1960 Lincoln Continental Mark V. So I'm going to give you updates on these 3 cars as well as a couple of others in the collection and what we're doing on them. Stay tuned. So Project Big Red came out of the paint shop 2 weeks ago. Joe and I picked it up. If you're not familiar with the car, it's a 1960 Lincoln Continental Mark V, one of 2,044 produced, and very rare car to find today. This month will be 1 year we've had the car. But Joe, I'm not going to open the hood. We'll show it in a future episode. But over the past year, Joe was slowly working on detailing the engine, taking all the trim and chrome pieces off, which is quite substantial, and getting the car ready for paint. Believe it or not, the local Mako shop did a phenomenal job. It's not I wouldn't call it a Concours quality paint job, but it's single stage for about $6,500. It looks fantastic. Now, if you watched my podcast last month, Marty at NEL Chrome Restoration did a significant amount of the chrome work. And the car's going to look stunning as I go across. And here's that with this car now, you get into that situation where you have a beautiful paint job and you have some great chrome pieces. Where do you draw the line? Because between the $6,500 paint job and about $5,000 in chrome work so far, and now the more we look at it, we don't want to put the other pieces we thought were good back on the car. So I've reached out to Marty, and we're going to be looking at that. But now you could see he's put the chrome spears on the fender. The gold strips that I found that were new old stock. The hood emblem. And he's slowly getting the grille ready. So next week we'll have the bumper on. Overall, I'm very impressed with how the car is coming together. And see, the car still has a bit of a lift because the bumper is so huge that we're hoping that the weight will take care of that. So that's what's going on with this one. And now on to project some assembly required. 1973 Triumph TR6. We bought just before Labor Day. So as time's permitted, I've been working on the interior. I've got the carpet pretty much in. I did do the hush mat throughout the car and especially in the trunk. I think that'll help a little bit with sound deadening to whatever degree you want, but mainly heat insulation when you're driving the car. In the past week in particular, I put in the seat tracks. Those required a bit of an oddball bolt. It's a 1/4 28 UNC, a very fine thread. Was able to put the seat tracks in that I bought online from eBay because the car did not have, even though the seller told us he had all the parts, we're finding that that's not necessarily the case. And that's usually what happens with stalled restoration projects. And next week, I'll probably work on this a little bit more as I wait for parts on the other car. Big things on this, we thought there was a problem with the clutch. Joe replaced the slave cylinder, filled that up, bled it, and we thought the pressure plate was still making noise. And as it turned out, it was the starter. Joe put a new starter in it, and that noise went away. So we're good there. The biggest thing we're finding with this is the carburetors need a rebuild with dual Strombergs. So reached out to the various Triumph forums and found gentleman on the Triumph Experience Forum. We're in queue to have those done, but he's talking about early January. So we moved the car into the heated area of the garage now so I can work on this a little bit better. The other thing Joe worked on a couple weeks ago was the gas tank. We pulled that out as I had the interior still out. He did a great job cleaning out the tank. It was not in bad shape. It had been drained, but it was good that he cleaned it and did the right thing. And of course, when he did that, I bought the replacement hoses and a new sending unit. The fuel system will be good. It's just a matter of waiting until early January to get the carburetors done, and then we can really move forward mechanically on this. Moving on. So car number 3 is Project Quick Flip, a 36,000 mile 1989 Porsche 944 Turbo. I did 2 long-form videos in the past couple of weeks on disassembling the car for a major service and then reassembling it. The problem with a 36,000 mile car is cosmetically they will look wonderful, but you start touching old parts and they'll literally fall apart. And this car's no exception. I did the timing chain, the balance shaft, all the pulleys, and the water pump. Well, in order to do that, you can watch that video. That video, you see, it's very elaborate. Touching I had coolant leaks in the various hoses. So now I'm stuck waiting for the new hoses to come in. Today, as I'm doing this, is December 5th. I should have those by the 8th. And so by this time next week, I hope to have the coolant all put back together and all the leaks resolved. To add insult to injury, I went to start the car on Monday of this week, and the battery was flat. The battery was dated February of 2012. Previous owner was not using the car, and he didn't have a battery tender on it. So it's a recipe for an early failure on a battery, and this car was no exception. Went to Costco, got a new interstate battery to put in, came back, put it in the car, went to start the car just to make sure everything was okay, and it locked up. I mean, it locked the car. If you wanted to ever see my face turn white, I thought I had a problem, a real big problem. Now, we had started the car after I did all the service, and everything seemed fine. Putting the new battery in, shouldn't have done anything. Well, long story short, Joe pulled the starter out on Tuesday for me, and it's clear that the starter was seized. And so, thank God, the engine turns. So it's not anything I did with the timing chain or the balance shafts. It's the starter. Again, another part I had to remove to lock the flywheel. And the fact that it had not been touched, but now I'm moving it around, probably was enough to set something off on that. I know I wired it right because it did start and nothing burned up, but just one of those things. In a 40-year-old part, start touching it, and it's likely to fail. If you watch the last video on this, this is the part for the turbo coolant thermostat. It's a mini thermostat. To FCP Euro's credit, they sent me a new one of those because we put the old one on, we put the new one on, both of them leaked. So we're going to try to, we're hoping third time's the charm, because if that leaks with just the O-ring, that's probably says the surface of the new water pump is not flat. Pray that's not the problem here. I'm still waiting on the wheel lock keys from the previous owner. I'll explain that in a future episode, but I can't take the wheels off unless I drill out the locks, and I don't want to do that. I'm really hoping we get the keys. It's a long story. Save it for another video. On the 15th, I have a service coming in to dry ice the undercarriage and the engine bay. I'm going to spend a full day here at the shop. I plan to do an exclusive video on that, and that'll really show this car off in the 36,000 miles. So the one car, if you're following along, the one car that's not here right now is the Imperial Crown Convertible. Had a lot of internal debate whether we were going to work on the convertible top or set it out. There's a gentleman not just down the street from here, excellent trim person. So he's had the car the last couple of weeks to work on replacing the convertible top. We opted the owner's request. We're switching it out from a black top to a white top. I've replaced the carpeting in the car. I got a kit from Newark Auto. I put that carpet in. We're going to do a separate long form video on that. I'm well overdue on that. And I also managed to re-dye the seats on that. I'm told by the upholsterer is going to have that car back next week, and we'll show the top off in next week's episode. What is the fifth car? Well, I've already pre-recorded this. Let me take you through what that car is. All right, our fifth project is this 1959 Nash Metropolitan convertible. And a cool little car. The owner's had it a number of years, hasn't really done anything with it. He's always wanted to make it a short car. A couple days ago, he said to me, let's get this fixed up for 2026. Runs. It did take it out earlier this year around the yard here. And it's a classic 3 on the tree. Has an Austin motor in it. He wants to do 3 things on the car. It's a very solid car, but it needs paint. So we're going to take it over to the same place that's doing the Lincoln. And we're going to have them repaint the car. So we're calling this project Shore Surfer because this car is going to, next spring, we'll go to Long Beach Island, locally known as LBI. And it's the perfect car during the summer to buzz up and down Long Beach Island as the speed limits are 30 miles an hour or less. So great car to do that in. The owner's biggest concern about having it down there as a short car are brakes. It's a 4-wheel drum brake system. Now, the beauty of this is a lot of the parts on these cars were shared with the MGA in the, I believe, MG Midget. So, sure enough, a little research, I found that we could put up, there's a plug-and-play front disc brake kit for these cars, as well as a dual master cylinder upgrade. So it's about $2,500 all in. I'm going to order that, and over the winter months, we're going to put that in. See, these are unibody cars. As you can see, that's a very solid. But that's what's going to be happening with this car. Not a lot to do. I think the other thing we have to fix is the top on it. The last time it was registered was 2003. See, it is coming up here, but overall, a very solid car. And I think this will be a fun car. Spruce up over the winter. Have it ready for the shore in 2026. So this is Project Shore Surfer. Stay tuned for more information on that. At a minimum, please press the like button. If you haven't done so already, I would encourage you to subscribe. It costs you nothing. It helps the YouTube algorithm spread this channel to other enthusiasts to get the word out about what I'm doing with Guys with Rides. And if you haven't done so, I encourage you to check out my main website, guyswithrides.com, or the marketplace, guyswithrides.bid. This is arguably the best car in the collection is this 1956 Pontiac Star Chief. It's a stunning car. Our boss has had this car, I believe, 20 years. It's believed to be a 44,000 original mile car that was restored, or frame-on restoration. The paint job, this dark gray metallic over pink with the Continental kit, it is just a stunning car. We're trying to make room in the shop here with the owner buying 2 other convertibles, the Continental and the Imperial. He wants to find a good home for this car, and it is a stunner. I would call this a 2+ car. My thought was we should wait till the spring. He said, well, try to put it up now. I decided, okay, put it where the most eyeballs in December would be, and that was on Hemmings. Unfortunately, Hemmings, in their infinite wisdom, said the car is going to end at 5 o'clock on Black Friday. Fridays are never good for an auction to begin with, but let alone Black Friday. My auction consultant said, oh, don't worry about it. We have great visibility. The car should do very well on them. I didn't have one bid on this car on that site. Not one bid on Hemmings. That's not a reflection of this car. It's not a reflection of the listing. It is a reflection of Hemmings and what's going on there. Maybe the economy, but I couldn't believe no one was interested in the car on that site. We're going to figure out what to do with this, but may retry it in the spring. But if you're interested in the car, you can reach out to me and we could talk. But for now, the car is going to sit a few more months until the spring, as most convertibles do better when the weather starts getting warmer. Finally, the last car that we're looking to sell is this 1930 Ford Model A. Our boss has had this car, I believe, 25, maybe even close to 30 years. Used to drive it around town quite a bit. I'd call this a 3-. You know, it's a solid driver. Was reupholstered at some point. Got cellulose paint. It's an old, what I would call an older amateur restoration. Interior is great. Runs well. I don't know how to drive these things or start them. I need to get schooled on that. Maybe I'll do a video on how to run a Model A. If you're looking for a great classic car, reach out to me, because this car, I think, is probably worth between $8,000 and $10,000, and it would make a nice addition to somebody's collection. So not really anything we need to do with it. Yeah, so this one's just sitting here. We're waiting between the Model A and the 56 Pontiac Star Chief. We're looking for new homes for those cars. So that's the latest and greatest from the Guys with Rides Grime Time Garage. Thanks for watching this video. Please press the like and subscribe button, comment below, and be sure to check out our other videos on this subject, as well as all the great content on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, you can call me at the number listed below, or be sure to check out our main website, guyswithrides.com.